to be about that time to put the Viper away. So we're going to do one more drive for the year. Talk about the things I've learned in the past. Geez, it's only been 2 months of ownership. What I've spent, what I've done, and basically how I feel. Have I made the right decision? Is it what I thought it would be? Things like that. And what it's like to live with this car, because I have put about 1,300 miles on it since taking delivery 2 months ago. It's currently got 29,148 miles. When I bought it, it was 27,900 or so in change. So I put a good percentage of the car's miles on it, and I've learned a lot about the car since. And I'll go over that once we're on a road here, nice and smooth to the right. And basically what I thought this car was, what it is, and that kind of stuff. So as you may know, when I bought this car, it was advertised as a Hennessy 650. I was relatively ignorant to a lot of that stuff, but I could tell by looking at it, it was kind of a hodgepodge. And so the car's got the plaque down here from West Coast Viper saying 650R package, and it has the gentleman's name on it and everything. So, you know, I was just like, well, it's probably 650 horsepower. It's hard to judge that kind of thing, and when I test drove the car, I only drove it for about a mile, and it was wet and on bulb track tires, so naturally that makes it kind of tough to discern, but the horsepower number didn't really matter. And so on the pursuit of information for the vehicle, I contacted the gentleman whose name is on this plaque. He told me about the engine build. It was 650 horsepower, cost $28,000 in 2004 to do the build. Anyways, got the car on the dyno last month. Dyno numbers are subjective, but it makes 490 wheel horsepower and 563 wheel torque on that dyno that day. The tune was just for safety, but that puts the car, according to that dyno, around 550 flywheel horsepower. I've ran the car in the quarter mile with a 2.160 foot. I ran an 1184 at 124.24 miles an hour. I'm sure it could do better. Obviously, I can cut that 60 foot time down. And on a sticky tire, the car is easily capable of like an 1130. And maybe a little better, but we'll say 1130 on a drag radial. So it's plenty quick. Never 650 horsepower. But that's okay. That's just some of the stuff I've learned as I've went down this rabbit hole of finding information out about this specific car. And so all that taken into consideration, it's been a lot of fun. Things I've done to the car. Well, I bought tires for the car. I bought the Kenda Vezda. I did a review on them. They're an extremely cheap tire. 275 35, 335 or 335 30 18. $833 shipped. Super cheap, because I knew I was gonna have to do some mechanical sorting on the car, so I figured I'd round back to that. But these tires have actually exceeded my expectations, so I'm good there. I cleaned the wheels up. I removed the racing decals on the car. I did the coil packs on the car. I did the wires and plugs, maintenance items, and I have some other stuff to put on. Got a new old stock passenger door panel, and I have a really nice used driver door panel. These ones have minor imperfections. I did put this later second gen shift knob in the car. Believe it or not, all that stuff adds up, miscellaneous trim pieces. So with tax and everything, I've got about $45,000 in the car. Actually, probably more like, yeah, $45,500, give or take, which is fine. The market on these is definitely cooling down from where it was like during COVID, let's say, where GTSs were commonly $70,000 cars. There are still some that are pulling that kind of money, but that's not the norm right now. I would say this car is probably worth a little more than I've got in it, but not a lot. Maybe 50. I've seen some pretty nice ones change hands for mid 50s, high 50s as of recent, but and I apologize if there's wind noise. That's some of the stuff that I bought, some weather seal stuff. Quiet down the cabin just a little bit. I can tell you, these cars have so much mechanical grip. I mean, it's astonishing. They really, really hold. A lot of it's these fat tires, but it's a phenomenal chassis. And people say, you know, it's a Widowmaker and this and that. You know, I suppose if you got too rowdy with it, yeah, but I mean, if you drive this thing within your ability, and you don't get crazy with the throttle, the grip is there. It's very impressive chassis. That's one of the things I've learned about this car. It's very livable as a GT car. The ride quality is great. I couldn't be happier with it. I really couldn't. I can't think of anything that feels more historically substantial to me personally for the money today. Yeah, I mean, you know, cars on my short list, Acura NSX. I mean, we know where those are at. You know, the cheapest ones that need some stuff that I've been seeing with reasonable miles, you know, 65, so a little more money. And obviously you're not getting the power that this has. Not that that matters in a car like that, but that's another car I'd love to own. But again, these are still cheaper. And the RT10s, good lord, I've seen RT10s for 32 grand recently. They were pretty nice. I mean, this cold market has a lot of deals in it. That is one thing I am certain of. Coming up to the beautiful Doster Country Store here in lovely Plainwell, Michigan. In the era said that these things rode pretty rough. Well, I don't know. My standards are pretty high for ride quality, and this ride's every bit as good as, we'll say, my C4 Corvettes, like base suspension C4s. I mean, it's very livable. The seats are very comfortable. That car will keep me in line way longer than this one, you know what I mean? Where it should scare me more than it does, but the nannies, the traction control, the LSD, the mag ride, everything keeps me in check. Especially that car being the 10-speed automatic. This car, you're driving it 100% of the time you're in it. I mean, there is no way around it. You're operating a machine. And I guess that's the thing for me. So it's like, you know, as a kid, you know, fast cars were unruly. We didn't have nannies in the 80s and the 90s, really, you know. It was dangerous. Fast cars were dangerous. And I think that's part of the allure. If a car doesn't scare you, it's not that exciting. And I think that's why people are often very nostalgic for, like, we'll say, Lamborghinis from the Diablo area. They were still kind of rip your ass apart kind of a car that demanded some respect and a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of behavior. You know, you had to be decent unless you wanted to spin out. All the torque in the world, obviously. And we've got a Tremec T56, so nice solid feel there. It's the drivetrain. It obviously does not feel exotic. You know, it's just all torque, super flat power curve, which is great. You know, that's the usable power on the street, but it doesn't feel exotic. Obviously, it sounds a bit like a UPS truck with no exhaust on it at lower RPMs. But at high RPM, I mean, we'll run it up here and you can hear what you can hear, but it's got a unique sound, and I do like the high RPM sound from these cars. But low RPM, yeah, they're kind of dog shit in terms of making good noise. Especially this car with side pipes, which are known to not sound quite as good. It's harder to control the sound from what I've read. Of course, the most beautiful curvy road in the world. We're behind a Beamer with its blinker on. That's amazing right there, guys. If you know anything about a BMW, that guy's new to the party. He hasn't got the memo yet. He doesn't need to use that blinker. My channel, pretty nostalgic for the 90s, so I'm listening to music, I'm listening to, you know, some 90s rap, some grunge, the kind of stuff that really fits this car and this car's, I guess, personality. Now, this car was built in September 96, actually built the same month Tupac was shot, oddly enough, and that really kind of makes you realize how old this car is. But we're going to go ahead and get on in just a little bit here. Got plenty of power. Now you do have to get used to heel towing this car. The pedal box is offset to the left just a bit, not too bad. I'm a size 12, so it's a little tight. You get used to it, but at first you have to be really careful because you might go to heel toe and you might tap the brake. So just something to remember if you're considering driving a Viper soon, you're not familiar with them, whatever, that is one of the things I noticed about the car. Other than that, man, in regular driving, this car is only as aggressive as you. If you're nice, it's nice. If you get rowdy, it'll get rowdy with you. And I think that is one of the most important characteristics of a hobby car, that it's on pace with you. It's like a sparring match. You swing, it swings. You know what I mean? You swing harder, it swings harder. That's why I've never been a big fan of the slow car fast is more fun than the fast car slow thing. I don't really get that. I understand what it means, but I can drive a Miata very near its limits on a street tire all day long. And I get it. That's the point. They say that's why it's fun. I don't want that. I'm not scared of a Miata. I'm scared of this car. And I want a car that offers some excitement. It's like if you're gonna, like I said, a sparring match. Imagine you're a boxer. Do you want to box people? Let's say you're Tyson, right? Do you want to box I don't know, some 100-pound asshole? Do you want to box David Spade? Because David Spade's a Miata. No offense, David Spade. Love David Spade. But a Miata, yeah, it's David Spade. This is Mike Tyson. That's the difference. Really. And I know it sounds douchey. I hope that the audio captures some of the sound that this car makes at higher RPM. It may very well not, but worth a shot. And I'm not gonna really go crazy and edit this or anything, I don't think. I'm just gonna post it, you know, and a lot of it, like I've said before, it's for me, it's my journal. And this is my last drive really of the year here. So getting it in before the car goes away into the car capsule. And this winter I'm gonna be doing something different to fill the time, because there's not a lot of car stuff I can do in the winter, you know, but I get bored. So I've been doing I've been working on, don't judge me, don't judge me. I've been working on some automotive documentaries, okay, just something to fill the time. If you get bored, check them out. I did one about the RS200. It's not very good. It's terrible, matter of fact, but it's my first one. And there's a lot of cars I'm interested in, and automotive related topics I'm interested in. I do a little research and then I try to put something together, and it's just something different for me. So you'll see these this winter. You know, don't hate me. You don't have to watch it, you know. You do though. I mean, if you could watch it, it would help greatly. I'm broke. This car has murdered me financially, but that's okay. I'm still smiling. But alright, well, you know, this car has been fantastic. That's the takeaway. This is my favorite car I've ever owned. And I've had over 100 cars. And I can say with a good degree of certainty that I can't think of a car I've had, and it hurts to say it, nostalgia for the car and the memories aside, that's hard. But the car itself, I can't think of a car I've had that I'd rather have. And I can't think of a car that I could buy for less than, we'll say, $120,000 really, that could replace this in terms of excitement for me. I just can't. You know, of course there's a Gen 5 Viper. I'd love to have one, but I wouldn't want to sell this one to get it. This is the icon, this is the poster car for me. I'm ranting. That is it. Hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Have fun this winter. Keep an eye out for the documentaries to pass some time. And until next time, you know, stay tuned. Like, subscribe, comment, talk shit, belittle me, etc. And be safe.